Welcome. You're going to notice that I am working in a very messy room here with Hawkeye, and you're going to notice a whole bunch of things that are really important to a successful downstay. Our treat container is open and within sight, but just out of reach of Hawkeye. I want him to know that the treats are there. This isn't a trick. This is a game where he can learn how to make me reach it. I also want him to know that if he gets up, he can't leave. So I have him tethered to the chair by a 4-foot nylon leash. It's just an ordinary leash. There's nothing special about it, but I'm not leaving him alone so that he can begin chewing on it. Throughout this video, there are going to be times when I am speaking and times when I leave the video to give you the sounds of the room so that you know what's going on. I want you to notice particularly how often I treat. The more often I treat, the more likely it is that Hawkeye won't move. And I start adding in distractions early. This is Hawkeye's very first half hour of a 1-hour downstay, and he is only 14 weeks old in this video. While he's doing his downstay, I'm going to give him things to look at. I've been doing a lot of preparation to get him ready to have a tethered downstay. So I've taught him to lie down. I've taught him that staying down brings lots of treats. But up until now, I haven't made it his responsibility to do anything. Now I'm going to be quiet so that you can see that I'm not talking to Hawkeye while I'm training. I want Hawkeye to just pay attention to me moving. I want him to learn that there is a reward in watching what's happening in the room. And so I'm doing low-key things that are interesting to him. As soon as he starts to relax, though, I'm going to make it more difficult by moving more things. And I remain in motion so that he has something to see all the time. Keep noticing, though, that I don't say anything. Shifting and changing position is not a problem. I don't say anything when Hawkeye starts to shift and move around. I just keep teaching him that there is only one rule. Dogs who lie down get treats. Dogs who do other things get nothing. I guess that's 2 rules. I am just off camera when Hawkeye got up, and I'm not far away, so he isn't nervous or worried about me being away. He just tried getting up to see what would happen. He's tethered, so he can't choose to leave, and that means that he is more likely to remain engaged with the activity. He has control of my behavior. So when he got up, my feet stopped moving. When he lay down, I started treating again. During the parts of the video where it is on fast forward, keep note of where I put the treats. When I put the treats between his front feet, it causes his chest and shoulders to back up and be pressed more deeply into the floor. When I put them by his elbow or his back paw, it causes him to shift his weight into a more relaxed posture by causing him to flop his hips over. This is a really great way to help your dog to develop a good posture of relaxation. Notice also when his front feet spread out like they just did there. He is more relaxed when his front feet are wider. And it's really important that we take note of these small changes as indicative of where your dog is at. You should also be taking note of the rate at which I feed. This is his first half-hour downstay, so I am feeding very, very frequently. But I'm still doing things between each treat so he has something to look at. This cause and effect situation where when the dog gets up, I stop moving, really teaches the dog that this is an interactive behavior. Don't think of the downstay as a static behavior where nothing is happening. Think of the downstay as being a really, really interactive behavior where you make the dog do things and he makes you do things. Using video can be a really helpful tool, especially if you have the ability to watch it on fast forward. You should notice that Hawkeye has changed orientation a number of times. This is not a big deal. At this level of his training and understanding, the fact that he is lying down is the important part. When a distraction such as someone coming through the room happens, a dog would ordinarily go and join in with the other dogs and the people who are going through. But because he's tethered and because I'm not getting excited about his actual position, he just goes back to lying down. Once your dog learns that lying down is the target behavior, it becomes a default behavior. So when in doubt, just lie down and stay. This means that your dog can be relied upon to choose the right thing to do when you have guests over or when you have an exciting activity happening. I do want to mention that it's important to place the treats. Don't toss them or throw them. Okay? When you toss them or drop them or throw them, that makes the activity a little more exciting, and that means it's more likely that your dog is going to get up. If you watch the video carefully, you will notice that from time to time I accidentally or inadvertently drop a treat. And what happens then is Hawkeye just looks at it, he doesn't get up, and I move it into reach for him. Dogs who have been taught a cue take it do learn that the downstay is an exception to the cue take it rule if you are placing the treat. And they also learn that if you toss it or drop it, to ignore it. And that's really useful later on. You may have noticed that when I return to Hawkeye after he has chosen to lie down, I do talk to him a little bit. I'll say good boy or something like that, so that it's marking that he's making a good choice. At this level, I tend to be very careful about how much talking I do. I want the dog to learn that watching me, not listening to me, is the important part. With an experienced adult dog, I will often include them in a discussion of what I'm doing so that they know what's coming. So I'll use my 1 hour downstate skills to set up my training area. I might put the dog in a downstay and then set up a jump or something. Notice here that Hawkeye's front legs are shifting outwards, as I mentioned before. It's really important to keep track. This is a good sign. The dog can't spread his feet out unless he is relaxed. Coming back to the point of not speaking when I am training this, I'm really looking for the dog to pay attention to my movement, and any words that I use are used intentionally to mark a behavior that I particularly like, such as choosing to lie down. As we get into the tail end of the downstay, I'm really upping my game in terms of distractions. So you'll notice in the fast forward part, I was doing some jogging in space and some marching and that kind of thing. Now, from time to time, you're going to have an oops like this. There are interesting things within reach for Hawkeye, and so because he can reach them, he might self-stimulate and not do his downstay. He is very young in this phase. He is 14 weeks old, and so play is much more interesting than relaxation. I just moved the toys a little bit out of his reach and then increased my rate of reinforcement again. And I'm putting that treat near his elbow to get him into that more relaxed posture. If he was panicking or if he was truly upset, I might do something different. Like I might sit in front of him and feed continuously. And then as soon as he settled down, I might let him off his tether to play. So it's really important that you judge what's happening with your dog. If they're panicking, if they're stressed, take action, increase your rate of reinforcement, increase the value of your reinforcement at that point, and as soon as they are settled down again, let them off to play. It's so important that you pay attention to what your dog is doing. Too often I see people doing a downstay where they're not attending to what the dog is doing. This is very much an active training scenario where we want you to be paying attention to what the dog is doing and use that information to guide you in your next steps. At the very end of my downstay, I always ask for another behavior and then unclip, say a release cue, and drop some treats for my dog to pick up. This allows the dog to know that we're done without creating an explosive release. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to ask any questions by emailing us at info@dogsinthepark.ca.